What's up, everybody? Daniel Ramsey here from my Outdesk. I'm really excited because I've got my good friend Grier Allen from BoomTown. Now, guys, you know I'm a broker. You know we run the largest real estate virtual assistant company. And back in the day, I had a BoomTown platform. I grew up on Grier's platform, man, in the real estate space. So I had the opportunity wall. I had agents going around, and so this is like mind blowing. I'm super excited. Grier, thanks for joining us today.
Daniel, thank you so much for having me, man. Excited to be here.
You know what's crazy is today we're going to, look, if you're listening right now, I'd love you to just tell Grier where you're from. We got a lot of people live, a lot of people in the webinar. So just go ahead, drop your name in there, tell us where you are in the country, because Grier has, well, you guys like us, you got clients all over the world, right?
We do.
And what, so we're going to get into your story real quick, but today, if you're here, we're going to talk internet leads. We're going to talk building teams. We're going to talk technology. We're going to talk about where this crazy industry is going, because you kind of have a view into that. And yeah, I'm super excited. Let's start though, Grier, like how'd you get started and how did you build BoomTown? Like the beginning, the baby story, the origin story, like how did that go?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I was kind of a baby when I got started in this space. So I've never actually sold real estate myself, but my dad and my brother have both been in the industry for decades.
Yeah.
And so I actually went to Clemson University, go Tigers, #1 in the nation. But wait,
number one for what?
College football, baby. That's what we live and breathe down here in the Southeast.
I got you. Okay.
So anyway, I graduated with a computer science degree. So when I got out of school, I immediately started working for the brokers where my dad was selling real estate and working up in their marketing department. All the advertising back in 2002 was mainly done through newspaper. Nice. And so I worked a lot on their corporate intranet, helping them to really process those ads into the newspaper more efficiently and effectively. So that was kind of the early days of digitizing the marketing experience in real estate. And so I did that for a couple of years, started a digital advertising company following that for a couple of years. And then in 2006, decided that I really wanted to focus back in on real estate. This is an industry that I'm incredibly passionate about, and spent about a year really researching the industry and trying to understand where the pain points were for my brother and my dad, trying to figure out where those pains were. And about a year into that, landed on the idea of BoomTown.
Nice. Were you like having a drink with friends and you're like, I'm going to do BoomTown? Like, how did that actually, how did the name, first of all, BoomTown, I'm thinking, Reno, Nevada, like, right?
Yeah, right.
Cause I'm near Tahoe. So that's what I'm thinking. But how did you land on, I'm going to build a tech platform to generate leads for real estate people and help teams grow and expand? Like, how did you get to that space?
Yeah, it was sort of a zigzag line. So when we started our research, we were working with mainly larger brokers, and back in 2006, you kind of take it back in context of what the times were like back in 2006. There was a tremendous amount of marketing that these companies were doing, mostly offline at that time, but they were all driving. They knew that the internet was going to play a major role in the industry going forward.
Right.
So they had billboards everywhere, and they were all driving those billboards back to their websites. They weren't really investing into the website itself. And the biggest pain point that we saw was once a consumer came in and inquired about a property for sale and wanted to go see that property, it just fell on the floor. They had their relocation department with one individual, maybe two in that department. And they could barely handle the workload of the relocation business that they were doing, much less all of these internet leads and these buyers that were actually looking to buy homes. So we found some research that was out there. Over 50% of leads never responded to. Quite frankly, I don't think it's got much better than that. Since then,
No.
And although we've been trying very hard to help the industry with that. But that's where we started is looking at this problem of, hey, these bigger brokers, they don't have the, the staffing or, the infrastructure to be able to handle these inquiries coming in. And so we originally started down that path. When I started talking to my brother, who was starting his brokerage at the time,
Yep.
there was a key moment of time where we said, okay, I was asking my brother, where are you spending your marketing dollars?
Yep.
And he said, well, I just signed up for, in a quarter page advertisement in Charleston Magazine, which is a pretty well-read magazine across the Southeast and the East in general. But basically, he had no way of tracking the ROI from that. He was spending $1,500 a month. And we realized that, not only did agents and teams and brokers need to, to have, a system or service or technology that helped them to, to manage the leads, but also these smaller entities, they needed a system to be able to drive those leads in, create a great experience for the consumer when they landed on your website, allowing them to search, allowing them to learn more about what differentiated you as an agent or a team or a brokerage. And being able to drive leads and drive engagement back to that website. And so that's really where the whole picture came into view. And we just started hammering it out and building.
It's interesting, dude. You had me thinking because I live in a nice area of Sacramento, California, and there's this one agent, and he constantly puts his face on a billboard or a seat or whatever. And I always think, man, there's no value prop there. There's no call to action there. There's no brand really other than this guy with his hands crossed like this. Oh my goodness, man. What are you doing?
There's a lot of dollars that are wasted, and where we focused our energy was just on, how do we squeeze as much value out of the marketing spend that these companies or agents have, and
I love it,
and drive as many opportunities for them as possible.
Well, so we've got Carlos from Florida. What's up, man? Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Carlos?
Yeah. And hey, guys, if you're here, just drop where you're from and your name, and just say hello to Grier. He's kind of a big deal, man. You have grown and scaled a really, really big real estate kind of vendor program. So we're going to get into like what the industry is doing, why you did that, and all the kind of intricacies of really driving. Because here's the thing, your clients are our clients. The largest teams use BoomTown in this industry, the guys that are making millions of dollars and scaled businesses. So I really, really appreciate having your brain on this. Let's talk through, so we understand why you started the business, but let's talk through what are some of the things or lessons that you've learned that you wish your clients would embrace, or you wish the general real estate market would just jump onto and glom onto?
Something that you just mentioned, Daniel, is kind of thinking about this and sort of how we've scaled over the years and how we've grown a great business. And we're very fortunate, like you said. I mean, we work with some of the top real estate teams and brokers in the country. And I was actually reading the bio that you had on there for the webinar today, and it said 26% of the top Real Trends 250 are using BoomTown, and now we've been able to bring that number up to 40%. So
wow,
40% of the top 250 Real Trends Wall Street Journal agent teams are using our product, and
I love that.
And, a lot of them started with us when they were just getting into the industry, and they've just scaled their business from there, and are selling 500,000 homes a year. But the great thing from my perspective with that is we stay very close to our customers, and we listen as much as we can, and quite frankly, learn a lot. And, this entrepreneurial journey for me has been alongside many of the folks that we have, partnered with in the industry, and those clients that we've been able to serve. And so the one consistent thing I see is in success in this industry is focus and execution. And a lot of that comes from putting the right team around you. And I think, if you ask me, what's been the secret to our success, or what have I done differently over the years, and where has my mind had to shift,
Yep.
surrounding myself with the right people. I'm sure you can attest to that too, Daniel. It's all about surrounding yourself with the right people and having clarity of purpose and mission and just executing at a very high level.
We're going to break that down, but I love this quote. I was reading a book and I forget which one, but the guy said the difference between a billionaire and a millionaire and the average person is a billionaire buys a sports franchise and he doesn't think, how am I going to run it? He thinks, who do I need on my team so that I can win the thing, right? Like no billionaire is dumb enough to think he can run or she can run an actual sports team. And I think that's the mentality that you and I have embraced. You surround yourself with really great people and then you build and scale. And we've got a new book that we just put out. It's called Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. I want to give everybody a chance to kind of check it out. So if you text SVP, so Scale with Virtual Professionals, SVP to 31996, you get a copy of our book, and it focuses squarely on how to make the climb to $1 million in revenue as a real estate person, and who do you need on your team. I mean, it's nuts because this process isn't that hard, and yet as a real estate broker, and I got stuck in this. You remember when we first met, I was on my honeymoon, working at midnight, closing real estate deals. You remember that story? Yeah.
I do.
And I've spoke on your stage before talking about that. And, we, as real estate people, we're infected with a disease. Like, I got to do it.
Absolutely. No, I can vividly remember the time when we were scaling BoomTown where, I was, intimately involved in almost every aspect of the business and kind of reaching that point of frustration and knew I had to break through a ceiling and really bringing on the right people and trusting them and holding them accountable. Like that was the step. That was the big step, the inflection point for BoomTown. And we see it with a lot of our customers as well. And like you said, Daniel, I mean, you've built an incredible business yourself off of helping agents to do that. There's a lot that goes into, hiring and finding the right talent. And you guys do a fantastic job of that for your customers to help them find those resources.
And I appreciate that, man. And we've been buds for a long time. I mean, I had a challenge in my business and I called Grier. I'm like, hey, what do you think? And he's like, hey, grab this book. And I read the book and I was like, I got it now. I figured it out. Right. So you've been super helpful to us, a great supporter and vice versa. Let's go back to that mindset. How did you swap at BoomTown going from, I need all my fingers in the leverage jar and control everything, and then you swap to, I want to scale this business, so I need to hire the right people, fairly compensate them, and get out of their way and let them do their job. Like, let's talk about that mindset real quick that you enacted. How did it happen? What did it feel like? And how were you scared to do it?
Absolutely. No, I think there was a lot of fear and concern, and as an entrepreneur, as somebody that has a vision that they want to bring to life, you have this idea in your head of what you want it to look like and feel like, and what you want the customer's experience to be like. And until you really find those like-minded people that think like you and want to provide that incredible level of service for your customers, I mean, that's what you really have to do. And so, you talked about it a little bit, but it's specifically around that transition point from what to who. And when you can mentally make that transition, which is easy to say, it's harder to actually have the mindset to actually go and do that. Yeah. That's where you really make a difference and where you break through a ceiling in your business. And there's actually a book that I'll plug here. It's called Who. It's a book. It's the guys at GH Smart. I can't remember who the actual author is, but GH Smart is an organization that helps you really to think through, what you're looking for in a hire. And, we've made great hires and we've made mistakes in the past, and you can't be afraid of making those mistakes, but, and you're never going to bat 1,000 with people. That's another thing that I've learned is you will never bat 1,000. But when you get the right person, you know it, and it makes just a massive impact, not only in your business, but also your personal life.
Yeah.
There's, once you have that trust in that person. But G.H. Smart, the book Who, actually helps you to really take the time to really think about, what are the three most important things that I want this person to be able to perform. And you can score each one of the candidates that you talk to on each one of those different objectives.
Yep.
And that's how you really start to hone in your skills in making better decisions on hiring.
I love that. I love that. Well, let's dive into like the real estate world. You're a tech guy, obviously a leader in the real estate tech. And what's weird about this time in our history is all the tech companies want to be real estate companies. All the real estate companies want to be tech companies. And here you are, almost 15 years of experience. And you're like, hey guys, I just want to sit in the middle and help everyone win. Right. So where do you see the industry like going, and what should agents be embracing right now? Agents, brokerages, large teams, what's really important about this kind of period of the real estate tech
Absolutely
world?
No, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this, and it's a time in the industry where there are all these new ideas and solutions, and really a lot of it is geared towards the consumer, and focusing on, as a consumer, providing more choice and more optionality for me to transact in real estate, and how to make that a smoother transaction, going through the traditional process. So literally billions of dollars being spent in both in equity and in debt. And I think there's going to be winners and there's going to be some big losers in this endeavor as well.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Like get us, who's going to win in this space right now?
It's, who is going to win? I think it's going to be the ones that realize that agents are going to remain at the center of the transaction in the majority of cases. Because, even if you look at iBuyer, is on the total opposite spectrum than the traditional sale process.
Right.
What these companies that are investing heavily into the iBuyer phenomenon, like Zillow and Open Door, are realizing that they need to partner with the industry. And so the agent is playing a part in all of those transactions. As Zillow is rolling out their Zillow Homes in new markets, they're partnering with the top agents in those particular markets.
Yep.
That's something that when we, our original thesis when starting this business was that agents were going to be at the center of the transaction for as long as we could see out, and that's really playing out even with these new models. And so I can't really name a specific name there, but I think that that's going to be the mentality of the companies that will win this. And for those that are in the traditional side of things, you've got to embrace it. So, we go back to the top 250 and those 40% that we work with, they are looking at these changes in the industry as opportunity. Most of the folks in this industry are looking at the iBuyer and all these different newfangled ways of buying and selling your home as a competitive threat. And it's all about mindset. It's always about mindset. And if you have the mindset that you can see new opportunity in the ways that things are going to be in the future, I think those are the folks that are going to win, that are coming from the industry side, from the traditional way of doing things, are the ones that are going to evolve and embrace that change and find the acres of diamonds in the new way of doing business in real estate.
What's wild is we have a couple of those iBuyer and Zillow Premier agents who are like servicing these large tech platforms as clients, because what's really happening in our industry right now is there's just equity flowing in, meaning cash and capital is flowing in like it's never flown in before. And it's squarely on the eyeball of the consumer. How can we serve the consumer? What do they want? And I think that's a new revelation for us real estate brokers, because it was like we were the expert in our industry. Well, that's not always that's not the value proposition that's going to win in this new world. It's like, how are you going to serve your clients, and how are you going to be kind of engaged with them through the process? So real estate people, the smart ones, are going to win. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So I agree 100%. Let's talk, how many leads are sold every year in the real estate space? This is kind of one of those, I hear different numbers, stats from Stage and like, I'm just kind of curious, like how many leads come through and like what, a challenge that we all have. And if you're here listening, getting our agents to respond to leads, getting our agents to work leads, getting our agents to call the leads. The most important thing is speed to lead. Like how quick. Yeah. And you know this better than anybody. So I'm going to stop talking. You talk to us about what you've learned in the industry.
So I can't give you the answer to how many leads are generated in the industry.
Yep.
I can allude to some of the numbers that we have coming through.
Okay.
BoomTown customers, we see roughly 75 million consumers a year visit our clients' websites.
Okay.
75 million. So obviously way more than any number of transactions that are happening on an annual basis.
Because there's about only 500 or 5 million transactions annually.
Yep, 5.5 million is what you're looking at. So 11 million sides. So we're seeing roughly 700,000 leads being generated a month through our platform. So there's a lot that goes into and a lot that we've invested into to help, whether it's through technology and bringing in data from third parties. This industry is to win in this industry, data is going to have to be a key piece of that.
What does that mean though? What is Grier? I'm not a tech guy. I don't understand. What does data mean?
So, when I say data, when you have a lead that comes in to BoomTown, for example, right. There's a certain amount of information that consumer is going to give you. There's a certain amount of information that you can derive from what that consumer is doing on your website and your mobile app and how they're engaging with emails. Are they going to your agent profile page and reading your bio? Those are all signals. So there's
right.
this behavioral data. There's the data that they give you, but then there's also third-party data that you can bring in from other services that helps to validate those leads. So understanding where that person currently lives, are they buying, or they rent, or they own, or they rent. There's all kinds of different third-party data sources that we use at BoomTown to be able to enhance the leads and enhance the value of those leads. But again, you have so many leads coming through that what we've learned is that agents are busy. Agents are their most dollar productive activities are working belly to belly, face to face with their current customers. And to ask an agent to follow up within 2 minutes, that speed to lead we're talking about, that's so critical and important to getting the return on investment that you need out of online lead generation. It's nearly impossible for them to do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And one of the areas where we're investing heavily right now, we made an acquisition this past year of a company called Real Contact. And Real Contact provides those services of engaging those leads at the top of the funnel, whether it's through SMS or through calling. We're doing all of that to bring those leads down funnel for agents so that they're only working with ready buyers. And so this game well too, Daniel, and it's a big need, and that's why we're evolving our strategy, and we've always been technology plus services in terms of lead generation. We've always provided those services to our customers, but now we're starting to think about the services side of lead engagement and lead qualification, because real estate agents got into this business to be belly to belly, and that's what they're good at. You typically got into some industry because you're good at it, and that's what they're good at. It's pulling teeth trying to get agents to prospect and to follow up with their leads that are coming in that may or may not be ready to buy. And so it's a mix of technology and service that we feel is the right answer. And we have a lot of data to back that up. And so so that's the direction we think is the future for BoomTown. Everything we do, Daniel, is around our one mission, and that mission is to make real estate agents successful. it's pretty damn simple, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're always looking at whatever we can do to make real estate agents more successful.
Right.
That's the direction we're going to take this business.
Well, and what's wild is, and I don't even know if I've told you this, but you know, you and I got in a relationship because we were helping solve an issue for agents. Like, they just weren't calling their leads, so we'd hire a virtual assistant and we'd put them on your platform. And what I loved the opportunity wall. I love being able to see all the things that they've opened. The platform works, and we were hired in 2013, and this is why you made that acquisition. In 2013, Zillow actually hired my outdesk. We did a 50 market test for the premiere, and we got a 36% appointment rate, meaning our virtual assistants just, you know, we use Salesforce, and the leads came into Salesforce, and then we had a dialer, and we had 5 virtual assistants for 50 different markets. And what's crazy is we connected 36% was our average. Our best month was 37%, but our average was 36% because we were just speed to lead. In 30 seconds, we were on the phone. Hey, you're on the platform? You're looking for a house? You know? And so if you're listening right now and you got a lot of leads and you need some help, I definitely want you guys to text SVP to 31996. We're going to give you a copy of the book. Plus, I know you're busy. I know you're not, you shouldn't be doing all the paperwork anyways, Grier, right?
Absolutely.
Belly to belly on the clients. It's crazy. I put on our Facebook page, and you'll love this, like the success ratio of all different lead sources and referrals, past clients. Those are the 10-to-1, the 3-to-2 ratios. You start thinking about, you know, all the other lead sources, and it gets to 25 and 50-to-1. So you want to work your sphere, the people who know you. It's where 70% of the business comes from, and let us do everything else. Or Grier's the new company that you just purchased, man. I love that you did that. That's where it's all going.
No, it is. And you know, Daniel, I know that y'all have a suite of services that you know, we'll probably never get into because we have to stay focused on what we do.
Right.
Best, but yeah, I mean, it's about leverage, and it goes back to the exact conversation we were having earlier about
it's the who.
You know, leveraging, finding the who, and finding the people that can help leverage you and put you in a position to be doing what you're best at every single day.
What are some of the, I mean, we talked about speed to lead, and if you're listening right now and you don't have a measurement for when a lead comes into your office, and BoomTown is a great platform because you can actually see how fast response is happening, but speed to lead is really important. But what other metrics, Grier, for all of the real estate people that are listening? Because you've got a view into 40% of the top teams, and these are guys who have 30, 40, 50 people on their team. They're doing multiple, you know, millions of dollars. What are some of the things that you've seen that are like best practices?
Absolutely. So one of the other areas we've invested pretty heavily over the past several years is on something we call the Vitals dashboard. And so what we did for the Vitals dashboard is we basically took every single metric that we felt that we actually studied through the data in terms of, you know, who is the best return on investment from the leads that are coming into the system. And and you're right, it goes well beyond just that initial speed to lead. You can see exactly, I'm actually looking right now at a screen of one of our clients that, you know, that's showing their vital score. The score represents, how they're doing at all these different metrics over time. But, you know, some of the metrics that you need to watch, obviously your new leads, they need to be responded to in a very timely fashion. Contacting them in that critical first 5 minutes. Leads, come across as registrations in our system. So there's another type of lead that's an inquiry. Those are even more important. These are people that are raising their hand saying, hey, I want to go see this property, or I want to, start an offer on this home. And so that's the other metric we have in there. BoomTown is masterful at bringing leads back to your website and re-engaging with your consumer experience. Every time they're re-engaging with that experience, they're getting your brand right in front of them every single day. And so making sure that you're keeping track of those people that are re-engaging with your website or any sort of digital experience that you have, and keeping those at the top of your call list, that's another very important thing. We recommend 6 calls per lead, at least.
Okay.
And so again, this is
Why
not
6?
this
Why
is not
6?
6. It's been a while since since we kind of put that in the sand, but I think it was from some studies that we had done in conjunction with some other folks with some coaching organizations in the past,
Nice.
that determined this is where the diminishing of returns comes into play, is after 6, but it's still relevant to continue to contact them up to that 6 point. We want to make sure that they're on marketing automation. We want to make sure that they're getting, they're getting valuable information on, what's happening in their market. If there's a seller, we want to make sure that they're leveraging, our tools for e-alerts if they're buyers, keeping track of new listings and price reductions and solds that are happening in the market that they're in. This is what consumers find very valuable, and don't downplay that it's automatically just happening out of your system, because the consumer really respects it and appreciates that insight that you're giving to them. So it's around making sure that you're setting up those follow-ups with the folks that you have in your database, like with your sphere, like you mentioned earlier, but also, really responding to those new leads quickly, responding enough times, and keeping track of those leads that they're constantly engaging with your digital experience.
What's some of the best practices in terms of digital? Like, I know you guys kind of set up the whole branding, the front facing, consumer facing, platform, but what are some, like, blogs, social, how does that play in conjunction with what BoomTown does to really drive results and experience for a consumer?
Absolutely. So out of the gate, just going back to, my brother was spending $1,500 on a quarter page magazine ad. Most of what we have done to date, Daniel, is really focused on lead generation marketing, but there's more to marketing, obviously, than just the lead generation aspect of it all.
Right.
And so that's when you get into your blogs and social media. We have something in beta right now, with probably a couple handfuls of customers. That's really focusing on expanding the breadth of what we do, and allowing them to self-serve their digital advertising in other ways. So beyond lead generation, you want to be able to engage the people that you already have in your database, for example.
Right.
And the way that we do that is through dynamic ads for real estate, through Facebook and Instagram, which is going to show a carousel of properties using machine learning or artificial intelligence or whatever other buzzword you want to throw out there. But it's going to match listings that they haven't seen or listings that they might have favorited, and show them that directly on their Facebook wall. Real estate agents also need to keep sellers happy, and so the other piece of this Marketing Central tool is to be able to promote their listings and also promote solds. Get your brand out there, let people know, and target those people in the neighborhood that that you've sold a house in their neighborhood, and you're continuing to dominate the local real estate market in their area. So we're expanding beyond that. Blogs. We have some clients that are really successful in blogging. It's able to drive a lot of traffic to their website, but a lot of that can't really just be measured in terms of metrics. If people are engaging with their content, and you have content that's extremely valuable, when people read that sense of trust for your brand just keeps going up, and that's another area, Daniel, that I think that outsourcing to a virtual assistant could really help. Let's be honest, the majority of agents aren't going to sit down and write a blog post. It's just not going to happen. I'd say 99% of our clients don't, but it's a real opportunity that they're leaving on the table.
What we do is we help clients do this by doing videos. Like, I'm not a writer. You might be a writer. I'm not a writer, but I'll from time to time grab my little trusty iPhone and throw a video together about what's happening in the virtual assistant world or in the real estate world. And then you can take that video, like what we're doing right now, and create a pretty badass blog. send that out to everybody in your database like that. And that's really something that's in an agent's wheelhouse. It's something that you can do. So
there's a huge thing you touched on there, and actually it makes it so much easier to get those blog posts written and outsourced through writing, but video. Yeah, that's a trend that we are seeing. Most of the successful agents. In fact, I can't open my Facebook feed anymore and actually see any of my local friends here in Charleston. It's nothing but the top selling real estate agents across the country. And they understand the power of video, and they're leveraging it extensively. And I love that idea about the blog posts. That's great.
What another question, you and I have gone through, I mean, there aren't very many people that have played in our space as a vendor to the real estate agent and who are still around and successful, and that are still ran by the founders. Like that,
right.
That is unusual. Usually somebody's getting out, or they sell, or it goes away. I can't tell you how many companies. Yeah, there's a bunch of that's happened, right? But so we've seen evolution of what the team looks like. But where I want to know, there was in the beginning, all the buyers agents was on the BoomTown platform, and it was like agent, agent, agent. Then ISAs came out, now OSAs, now tech platforms are doing it in-house, and now Zillow only does it with a warm transfer, and OpCity just gets sold for $400 million to Realtor.com. I mean, like it's all crazy, but here's what I want to know. What should a team look like to effectively work the hundreds, if not thousands of leads you guys generate for teams every single month? What is your suggestion about the right type of team? And it doesn't have to be virtual, by the way.
No. I think that, I'll see a lot of different models. Some people still send their leads directly to their agents. And they're very successful in doing that. But that calls for a high level of accountability with your agents. And there's folks that do that very, very well. Now they're the top 1% of the 1%, I'd say, kind of just take a blanket look at what does a typical successful team look like. I think that you've got different disciplines on that team. In the sense of the word, for a real estate agent who's belly to belly, that's what they're good at. That's why they got into this business. Keep them doing that. That's my recommendation. And anything you're doing to generate leads and opportunities for those agents, you've got your inside sales. It depends on what your buckets are in terms of what you're doing. If you're doing FSBOs and expireds, then you're going to have outside sales. They're going to tee up opportunities for your listing agents. But that separation of concern also between buyer agent and listing agent is also an important one. And anything that's administrative that's happened in the background, from transaction coordination, all of those services, we're going to start to see a lot more of that being outsourced. We don't play in that space today at all. But that I do not believe is a value add thing that an agent should be doing on their own at scale. I think that it's when I think about the whole entire experience from end to end, there's somebody out there that can do that way better than you, that's going to dot the I's, cross the T's, because it's rare to find somebody that loves being face to face, belly to belly with a person, and also is just really focused on the attention to detail.
Yep. So what I'm hearing is, and I just want to kind of synthesize this, have somebody dedicated to following up with leads and nurturing.
Right.
And you're hunting, that's probably likely a different person for the FSBOs and expireds. And then still different is the people that take listing calls, like and the people who are focused on that. So it really is a 3-person kind of thing to serve a large team and really grow it.
Absolutely.
And then keep your administrative staff out of the sales space.
Absolutely. Yep.
And the top 1% of the 1% can just send direct leads to the buyers, but that usually just doesn't freaking work. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
Actually, it works for us because then they call us and we help them.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
No, but I mean, if you look at the way that BoomTown, it's interesting because, when I get together with these folks, and we're going to have our BoomTown Closers Retreat coming up in October down at Kiowa Island here. And so, we oftentimes share how we structure our sales organization at BoomTown.
Yep.
And it's very similar. We have an outbound sales team who are calling down lists. We have an inbound team who's handling inbound inquiries that marketing is genning up for them. Yep. And then we have our sales reps who are taking it from needs assessment, figuring out what the right product is for them, and ultimately closing the deal. And then at that point, we hand it off to our customer success team. And that's where we've really differentiated ourselves, is through specialization. Right. And having those customer success people be very focused on how do we make our customers successful? How do we make real estate agents successful? And so it's a team effort. And I think what you're seeing is the evolution of the real estate industry into these teams, and that are growing and starting to take more and more market share away from the individual agents that don't want to scale. Now individual agents can scale themselves and leverage themselves by doing this outsourcing through either My Outdesk or BoomTown or both. Yeah. But I think that that getting the brand out there, doing more transactions, driving more revenue, pouring that back into marketing and putting your brand out there is incredibly important to stay relevant in today's real estate industry. You know
what I love about how your sales organization and how our sales organization is set up? And if you're listening right now, this is exact. I mean, when we generate a lead, we have a sales development rep. We call them SDRs.
Yep.
Yeah. You too, right? Great. Yeah. And they're basically a prospector, and they're out there talking to people and making sure that they're a qualified lead. And then once we've qualified them and they have a need or a problem or a pain point or an opportunity, because sometimes people are like, I just closed a brand new house development and I need help, So then they get transferred to somebody who's in our office, who's a real estate professional who really understands what's going on. And we take them through an entire consultation where who's on your org chart, what are some holes that you have, what's your tech stack look like, who's doing what on the team. And you'll probably love this methodology. People are starting to copy it, Grier. You should copy it. I like it. We call it a double my business strategy call, because here's what happens when you think about, if I'm doing 100 deals, what do I need to do 200 deals? The conversation is completely different.
Absolutely. It is.
So we'll go ahead.
No. I mean, I agree. I mean, you go up and you hit this plateau, and then you've got to break through that. And so what you're helping to do is identify, and you've probably got the formula pretty baked, going from one level to the next. So it totally makes sense.
Well, and it's exactly what we've been talking about. It's specializing and kind of making sure all of your systems are in line. Like your revenue generation system is in line. Your client services system is in line. Your operational system is in line. How do you service your clients once they become a client? I was talking to a guy who does 200 transactions a year. He's a BoomTown person out of Texas, and they do a phenomenal job of closing deals. But once they close the deal, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. And so I'm like, you got to hire 2 of our people and start loving on your clients after the sale, because after the sale, that's where all the magic happens.
Oh yeah. There's, like you said, there's so much value in those repeat business. And another concept that we think about a lot here, Daniel, is lifetime value of a customer. Yes. And a lot of folks think, okay, what's my return on investment from BoomTown? Well, if you think about it just in the concept of having, one transaction, that's okay. And people are successful and do a great job and still have 400, 500% return on investment doing that. But what most people do realize is that that the lifetime value of that customer, if you do the things that you're talking about and you're engaging with that customer after the sale, loving on them, that's going to lead to, that person talking about you, and going to be generating referrals out of nowhere from that. And that is the ultimate opportunity for you to differentiate yourself as an agent, because so many people aren't doing squat after the transaction. So showing just a little bit of love there can, in effect, double, triple, quadruple the lifetime value of that customer, whether it's through referrals or repeat business in the future.
Yeah, and what's wild is, as you were saying that, I was thinking, well, that's what will keep you relevant as this industry is kind of shifting, away from independence and into larger teams, is building those systems and process. So once you get a client, which costs a lot of money to get a client,
Yep.
you get to keep them, and you get all their referrals, and you get all their future business, and it's all in a system and a process so that you don't have to do it. That's the piece that is so hard for us to help our clients, is like, you can't just do stuff because that's how you've always done it. You got to write it down. You got to create a video. You got to get a platform of some sort and teach people how to help you love on your clients the way you want them to be loved on. And that's a huge pain point. Well, Grier, we're going to wrap up. If you're listening right now, and I know we got a bunch of people, we got, I love this guy, Lenny. He's always on, and he always says, beautiful Manhattan Beach. Lenny, if you're there, what's up, man? But if you're here and you want to ask Grier a question, we've got the question box. We're all about that. I'm about to wrap up real quick. And before we do that, and while we're gathering some questions, Grier, what's the future for BoomTown? If everybody is listening, and you kind of want to share them, with them, your vision for the future of the company, where are you guys heading?
Absolutely. Well, I like I said earlier, this company was built on one simple, idea, and that's to make real estate agents successful. And where we're evolving to today, we've evolved, a lot over the years.
Yep.
But we're evolving into a company where we take the best of breed technology and marry that with the best of breed service, and basically all in an effort to make our clients more successful. And so whether that's through our lead engagement and qualification through Real Contact, through offering more powerful, marketing services that aren't specifically lead generation focused, but focus more on engaging your database constantly over time.
Basically digital marketing,
but also the ecosystem that we're building around our product.
Okay.
I believe we're up to 40 or 50 plus integrations at this point, and we focus on the best of breed. And so, in order to achieve our mission, we feel like we need to be the center of their universe as far as their technology and service stack is related. We're not going to do everything, but we're going to integrate with best of breed. And to that point, Daniel, I'd love to take some conversation offline to discuss how you guys might be able to help us as well to fulfill that mission.
If you're listening, we just closed Grier, my outdesk in BoomTown. Back in love. I love it. It's so awesome. Well, okay, Grier, you're amazing, man. I love following your company, what you've done over the years. If you're listening, I've been to their office. They have an amazing culture and an amazing environment. People love working for this man, and I've enjoyed our interview today. Grier, thanks so much for spending time with us.
Thanks for having me, Daniel, and likewise, man. Can't say enough good things about you guys, and you hear about companies through reputation so much in this industry, and I can't say I've heard a bad thing about you guys, and I know that comes from the top. So thanks for all you're doing for the industry as well.
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. If you're listening, before you go, grab a copy of our book, Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. All you have to do is text SVP to 31996. And Grier, how would somebody find out more about BoomTown? Where would they go to grab? Is it just the website?
Yep, boomtownroi.com.
ROI. Why ROI?
Return on investment, baby. That's what we're all about.
Yes. All right, brother. Thanks so much for your time, guys. Enjoyed this conversation. We learned a lot. Grier, have a great day, man.
Thanks, Daniel. You too. Thanks for having me.